Picture this. You're just chilling on the couch, or maybe you're at your desk and you reach for your phone. You're not trying to waste time, right? You might not even be bored. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack one of the most universal, honestly kind of frustrating traps of the modern age and answer the ultimate question. Why exactly do we scroll even when we hate it?
You tell yourself, okay, just 1 minute. You unlock the screen. The plan is literally just to pop in, see what's going on, and pop it right back out to the real world.
Just one notification, you think. But then, you know how it goes. One video becomes two. Two instantly becomes 20. Suddenly, your thumb is just flicking upward in a total blur. You're tumbling down this rabbit hole of auto-playing content, swiping, refreshing, reacting. The thoughts cascade, the colors flash, the content just keeps coming and coming. And then, bam! You look at the clock, 27 minutes, gone. Just vanished, and you probably don't even remember what you just watched. Was it a guy power washing a driveway? Was it a cat falling off a chair? And you definitely don't remember why you opened your phone in the first place. But somehow, your thumb is still moving. Listen, if this happens to you, you are absolutely not alone. Billions of us do this every single day, and most of us aren't even having fun. We feel tired, guilty, yet we just keep scrolling. Now, here's a massive myth we really need to bust right off the bat. Most people think they're stuck in this loop because they lack self-control. They think, oh, I'm just lazy. But actually, that is exactly what the tech companies behind these apps want you to believe. Because, think about it, if you think the problem is you, well, you'll never question the system. Some of the most disciplined people on the planet struggle with this. They aren't fighting a lack of willpower. They're fighting something way, way bigger.
So to understand this trap, we gotta peel back the layers. Let's look at part 1, engineered for your attention.
Every single time you open an app, you're stepping into a system built by entire teams of neuroscientists, behavioral psychologists, and engineers. And their one and only job is to keep you from leaving. The vibrant colors, the little dings and sounds, push notifications, the endless feeds, even that tiny microsecond delay right before new content appears when you pull down to refresh. Literally none of that is an accident. Every single detail is carefully engineered to answer one simple question. How do we keep people here just a tiny bit longer? Because as we all know, 1 more minute turns into an hour, and an hour turns into a hardwired habit. Which brings us to a huge psychological weapon they use against us. Think about reading a good book or watching a movie. They have an ending, right? A final scene, a last page, they give your brain closure. But your feed? It never ends. There is always going to be another video, another hot take, another headline. Our brains naturally hate unfinished patterns. We desperately crave closure. The algorithm totally weaponizes this by just never giving it to you, constantly whispering in the background, hey, just one more.
But this whole system is actually built on our biology. Moving to part 2, your ancient survival brain.
Long before the internet was even a thing, the human brain had pretty much one mission: survive. And survival meant paying close attention to anything new. So imagine someone puts 10 identical boxes right in front of you. 9 are completely empty, but one has $1,000 inside. Would you stop opening boxes after the second empty one? Probably not, right? Social media works exactly like this giant slot machine. Most posts are totally forgettable, but every once in a while, boom, you hit the jackpot with a hilarious video or some crazy breaking news. That one single rewarding moment teaches your ancient survival brain a very dangerous lesson. Keep pulling the lever.
But here is the crazy twist that almost nobody talks about. The biggest reward isn't actually the content itself. It's the anticipation of what might come next. That tiny, split-second moment right before a post loads, that is what truly hijacks your evolutionary drive for novelty. The anticipation actually becomes more addictive than the reward itself. It's why walking away feels so strangely uncomfortable. You're not even choosing to scroll anymore. You're just endlessly chasing the possibility of a reward.
Which leads us to some pretty serious real-world consequences. Let's get into part 3, the cost of constant stimulation.
If you think these companies are just competing for your attention, you're only seeing half the picture. They're actually competing for your habits. I mean, have you ever closed an app only to open the exact same app 3 seconds later? Not because you got a message, but just because your brain felt like checking. You weren't searching for information right then. You were searching for stimulation. These apps literally train us to expect constant input. And because of that, ordinary life starts to feel uncomfortably slow. A quiet conversation, or just standing in line at the grocery store, suddenly feels unbearable because your brain is just so used to this overstimulated chaos.
And you know what that constant need for stimulation quietly steals from you? Silence, patience, and time.
Now, why does this matter? Well, because deep thinking is where your best ideas are born. It's where creativity grows and where you figure out complex problems. But deep thinking requires those exact three elements. So every minute spent chasing the next 30-second video is literally a minute your brain doesn't get to spend thinking deeply. When every single spare second is filled up with scrolling, your mind literally forgets how to just be still. And we've got to face this stark reality. When a mind can no longer be still, it becomes incredibly easy to influence, easy to distract, and easy to control. The real product here isn't the app, it's not the videos, it's not the entertainment. The real product is your attention. And once somebody controls your attention, they can start to influence your choices, your habits, and honestly, your whole life.
But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's talk solutions in part 4, reclaiming your greatest asset.
If you're feeling trapped in this, the good news is your brain isn't broken. It's just operating in a world it wasn't built for. You don't have to throw your smartphone in a river or go completely off the grid. So how do you fight back against a system designed by behavioral experts? You use 3 simple steps to create a tiny little wedge of awareness. Step 1, recognize the trap as it's actually happening. Step 2, just pause for 5 seconds. And step 3, make a conscious choice instead of an automatic reaction. See, breaking a habit always starts by just putting a little bit of space between the trigger and the action.
And during that 5-second pause, you can bust out the ultimate psychological weapon against the algorithm. Just ask yourself this one simple question. Am I choosing this, or is this choosing me? That single question is like throwing a wrench in the habit loop. Every time you consciously choose to close the app, instead of swiping to another video, you're teaching your brain something new. You are telling it that you are the one in control, not the algorithm, not the little red notification badge, you.
Over time, those small decisions really snowball into something huge. Look, right now, what you give your attention to dictates where your time goes today. And whatever gets your time today inevitably shapes your future tomorrow. That silence that maybe felt super uncomfortable at first, it'll actually start to feel peaceful again. Your focus will deepen. Because at the end of the day, your attention is your life. If an app controls where your attention goes, it quietly begins to dictate who you become. Ultimately, this isn't even really about social media. It's about freedom. The freedom to decide what actually deserves your mind's energy. The greatest battle of our generation is literally being fought over our attention, and every single scroll is a vote. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. The next time your thumb reaches for another swipe, will it be a vote for distraction or a vote for the life you truly want to build? Remember, the people who control their attention control their future. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.